Welcome to Reaching Out. We've got a very interesting topic today. We're going to talk about consumerism. At the same time, we're going to talk about connection. How do we connect to everything around us? How do we consume to everything around us? Are we a victim, or are we making honest, straightforward decisions when we connect to something? It's going to be an interesting thing to talk about, because the more you study it, the more interesting you get. In the meantime, we got a couple of announcements, and then we'll get right into our subject.
All right. Well, we still have things clicking along out at the church every Sunday morning. Sunday school at 9:30 a.m. Church at 10:30 a.m. We have a pot blessing that follows the church service, and you're welcome to come anytime and every time. Monday morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. at Sweet Temptations Cafe in Whitehall, we have a Bible study, and you can have breakfast during the Bible study. So that's pretty neat. That's at 7 a.m. at Sweet Temptations in Whitehall, and everyone's invited. Thursday, we have our food distribution, the same schedule every week. In the mornings, the first and third Thursday from 9 until 11, and the second, fourth, and fifth Thursdays of the month from 3 until 5. We ask for a $10 donation, and you get lots and lots of food of all kinds. We've got apples coming in now, among other things.
Squash.
And squash, yep. So you're welcome to come out to that. And, the usual stuff going on here.
So, okay, well, that's kind of the plan. And one other thing that I want to mention here, if you're interested in a teaching on healing, the supernatural, I've been teaching a class to people from around the world. Most of the people are from Africa. There's probably 100 people that are on that teaching. If you go on Telegraph and you text me, I will see that you get on there. We need your phone number, and then you'll be accepted on the group, and you're welcome to come in and out whenever you want to. But it's Telegraph. It's a free app. Works much like Zoom or Messenger or any of the other rest of them. It's the same principle. But the reality of it is, the world is changing. And that's why we got into this subject of connection or disconnection. What do we connect to? I want to give you an idea of connecting or disconnecting. I'm going to talk about disconnecting first. I got a cell phone. I will never buy another cell phone. And if this one goes bad, and if I don't need any more updates, I will throw it away. And then if I can't get a land phone, I'll throw that away. And if the post office closes, then you'll have to drive. And if we don't have cars, you better plan on walking. My technology has come to the point where I'm going to start disconnecting. So with that thought in mind, how much can we disconnect? And is it by choice? Is it forced on us? Who does it? Gabe, what do you think about disconnecting or connecting?
I think that's a bold front you just put up there.
Yeah,
about your technology. And I think that you could probably follow through on like maybe 50 to 75% of that, though.
I could get stubborn enough to do it.
I think you could, yeah.
I don't need any more updates.
No, you don't. You don't need any more phones. You don't need to spend money on that type of stuff.
Gabe, I paid more money for a phone than I paid for my first car, brand new.
How much was your car?
About $1,300.
Yeah, so there's some inflation there's some inflation on that price, but you're right though, that's pretty drastic.
That was a long time ago I bought that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was $1,300.
What year was it?
1960.
That's pretty cool.
What about you, Zoe? What are you going to connect to or disconnect?
Connecting to, when it comes to technology, I feel like is a very fine line. I think it can offer us some connection, but also disconnect us from reality. Because there's so many people just on their phones all day, all night, and they act as if this is 100% real communication. I think there's a balance. I think you can find some communication and some connection to this online world, but if that's all you have, then the real world, reality itself, becomes disconnected in that sense.
Boy, have I got one for you, Zoe.
Oh gosh, I'm ready.
We were in Hayward. We were sitting in a burger place. And there was probably 50, 75 people in there. And this alarm went off for this emergency network. And everybody in the place jumped up and grabbed their phone.
Well,
They were connected.
and because that buzz is very distinct. That emergency alert is very distinct. And so even if you didn't know that was coming and forgot about it because you were eating lunch like we did, all of a sudden our phones go off and, oh yeah. So you grab your phone, and because you could turn it off, you clicked OK or something and could turn it off. But it was interesting to see the reaction of everybody and it was an interesting thing because everybody's phones went off at once.
Yeah, that was the nationwide test.
Right.
Which I think is a positivity for connection. If there's a tornado, if there is something happening, they have the Amber Alerts like that and it buzzes off. That's definitely a positivity.
Right.
But when you react like that to your normal text message bing, that's when it becomes a problem.
That's a problem.
The observation I was going to make was it creates real feelings regardless of whatever. I mean, real feelings like fear almost in a sense for that quick test, maybe a little bit of fear, a little bit of anxiety, and then people are getting genuine happiness or getting some deep feelings of happiness from these things, or enough.
Well,
is
how
what I wanted to
connected
observe
should
there.
you
'Cause
be?
Oh, I tell you, I can remember the day that we did not have cell phones in our cars with us when we drove
I
down the
can
road.
remember the day we didn't even have a telephone.
What the heck? Did you have an Atlas or something in the car? Good gosh.
Yeah. Yeah,
Scary.
that-
So now, and it's
Most
not
people
too
don't know what
many
Atlas
years.
is.
You're right.
I've been an older person since I
No
started
kidding.
Grandpa?
carrying the cell phone in my car. But if I leave my cell phone home, it can be a nice sunny day, no threats of bad weather or anything like that. If I leave my cell phone at home accidentally, I feel very disconnected.
I'm naked.
Very.
I have
don't
a
have it.
question. When you guys first had the telephone in your home, like, did you guys have the same reaction as your phone going off today? Like, when the telephone rang, did you guys run? Like, this was exciting, something was happening?
Yep.
So we've been training on this, not since the cell phone, but from the landline.
Do you remember our
Sure.
landline?
And
Yeah.
then you get, if your ring
Till
came,
telemarketers came.
you ran for
Yeah.
the phone. If
Yeah.
the neighbor's ring came, you ran for the phone because you had a line phone, and you'd have 10 or 12 people on there. So people were running for the phone all the time.
Very carefully
Black Friday every
picked
day.
up the receiver.
So the neighbor wouldn't hear you.
But the neighbors all knew that everybody was listening.
Right.
That's pretty funny too. Actually, that was possible back in the day. There, that's
It's the
no
kind
privacy.
of thing you'll see on the Mom and Pa Kettle show from the 50s.
The kettle show.
You haven't even looked at that.
No,
No, it was-
I just used the word kettle. I believe you. I believe you on that
It
one.
was Ma and Pa Kettle.
But does this access to people make you more connected? Or does it make... So if I should be able to call my grandpa any time of day, you know, and you, grandpa, you should pick up and talk to me. Because you have a cell phone, so you should talk to me. If I want to call you twice a day, every day, does that make us more connected genuinely? That I call you and update you, oh, grandpa, I just had toast for dinner. Oh, I just did this. Because you will see that in... I felt like young adult relationships, if people don't reply to your text messages quickly, if they don't call you back, people start to feel anxiety.
Ugh.
They start to feel, oh, I texted them
They start
3
to feel
days.
disconnected.
Yeah, and now you're creating these rifts that, are they real? Are they false? You're trying to perceive what it means to be left on red for 3 days, because you know they saw it. because people are on their phones every hour of every day. So you
With
know
the
they
gen-
Maybe
saw
that's
it.
The
why
general
nobody likes
assumption,
me
right?
anymore.
Because you stopped answering all your messages, or
No,
what?
I
He
answer
doesn't
once a
answer.
week.
Dude, that's fine. I get it. Just give her your phone and stick to your email then, or
Is that for real?
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Yes. And
Yes. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of overthinking
Yeah,
that
I've
goes
had
into
people tell me.
not being able to communicate directly with somebody.
That's
Yeah.
why when my phone goes off, somebody says, "Aren't you going to check that?" No, I'm going to check it. I'll check it next week.
And so it's about intention. You have to have intention with your phone. You have to have the energy to use it. And it's kind of weird how everyone kind of has their own communication style with a phone even too. Mm-hmm. Some people are right back and forth with you. And then if you do not treat them the same way,
right.
they get a little nervous about it because they expect that kind of. And that's a whole different thing. But
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you rate your consumerism, the concept of consuming your phone?
I'll give you a counter example. Because of what Grandma said about leaving without her phone, I went up to Eau Claire the other night, and I got to Hickston, and I realized I didn't have my phone on me, and I was pissed. And I pick up Kelsey because we're going up to. I got to get my suit back from the wedding, and I wanted to get some pho.
Or didn't you go home and get it?
No.
What,
I was in Hickston. I drove straight to Eau Claire for 2.5 hours. I was up in Eau Claire
didn't have your phone.
without my phone.
Did you have withdrawals?
No. I wanted to take a picture of the food I was eating. I won't lie to you. I was like, how is anyone going to know I ate this if I don't snap it right now? But I hung out with Kelsey, talked with him, connected with him and the food, and had a wonderful time. Came back and got my phone, and guess what? I didn't have any messages.
Did you
What
feel
a
sad?
disappointment.
Did you
When I
feel
got back?
Yeah, and there was no messages. Did you feel
For a
sad
brief
about
moment,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That happens. If you have no messages, no one sent you something on Instagram, no one sent you something on Facebook, no one's texted or called, it's been a couple hours without your phone, and you're so eager to get back to it, and there's nothing. You know?
Yeah.
I was sad
Yeah.
for a brief moment, and then I just laughed. I was like, wow, that's hilarious too. This reaction that we have, though.
I have
this feeling.
66 messages
Grandpa?
on Telegram.
That gives me anxiety in a different way now, dude.
Yeah.
How many of those people just want to
And
reach out
I
to
have
you?
17 Googles unanswered, and I have 17 on Gmail unanswered.
Your emails
Gosh.
are fine.
Well,
Well,
ugh.
so to take it one step further, what happens if you're dating someone? What happens if you're trying to date someone and they want a message every single day because that means you're attracted to them? But did you and Grandma talk to each other every single day once you guys started talking?
No.
How much did you guys
We
talk a
talk
week?
to each other every day.
Leave me
did
alone.
I ask you what's for breakfast.
No.
when
When
you
we're
started.
dating.
No, when you
You
We
started.
weren't-
before the car
That
that you bought.
before
We didn't
marriage.
have phones.
So
No.
Correct.
that's what I'm
right.
saying.
There was distance
That's
between
right.
you guys.
What happens if you feel like there's an obligation? You just met this girl, you just met this boy, and you gotta talk to them every single day. Because if you don't talk to them one day, they're gonna think you don't like them. And that's happened because I'm very bad at responding, and then I've gone back to message and they've unmatched with me. They don't want to talk to me because I haven't texted them back.
I'll
in 2
tell
days.
you about dating in
This
the
is
old
the
days.
psychology of young people too, though.
If you got on the phone, you had Papa and Mama both listening.
Yeah.
You pick up the phone and be like, yeah, how was church this weekend? It was good. It was good. I want to go back this weekend with you again. Yes.
So my whole point, does being able to talk to people every second of every day actually make us more connected? Not at all.
I don't know.
It's like technology or any of
No,
this stuff.
it does
Just because
not.
it's available, do we have to use it or abuse it now? It's a personal choice, and it comes back to your intentions. And the dating part about that problem is more like people have terrible communication styles in general, and they don't always match up. And online stuff sucks.
I wonder if
period.
these people
You know-
feel abused.
They're not sucks all the time, but it's just tougher, huh?
I wonder if my people that I don't answer feel abused.
There's
Well,
a whole
don't waste
They
your
concept.
feel
time.
rejected,
Don't waste your time
probably.
thinking
There's
about that.
a
By
whole
you.
concept out there called ghosting. where you don't talk to someone, you just cut communication. And people have big debates on whether you have the right to just stop communication, just cut them off. You're not going to say why, you're not going to say anything about it, how much of a right you have to do that, or if that is abusive. There's a whole discourse on ghosting out there.
Well, boy, I'll tell you what, I'm quite a ghost.
I think you're ghosting.
You're
quite a few
ghosting.
people on your phone.
Wow, see what you learn on this show?
I know.
Think about this, folks. Look what you're learning.
Right.
I've
heard the term ghosting,
don't
but
pick
I didn't
this
know
stuff
what it
up.
was.
You don't want to use this stuff.
It's not.
You want to you want to unlearn this behavior if you are doing this behavior. To
There's a lot of
people
people listening to this show, and this is good.
Well, and so
Oh,
that's
Grandpa.
pretty inappropriate. That's not cool that you didn't even turn your
He doesn't know that he's on the show.
Cell phone protocol.
Dude,
You
have
to
some
slide
etiquette,
it.
man.
You have to slide it, Grandpa.
It's a
Slide
slider.
There you go.
It's an etiquette, dude.
Do you suppose he'll feel rejected?
I don't know.
Should I put your phone on mute or no? Do you need it that badly?
I don't want to miss something.
Send Steve to voicemail.
You see, folks, I want to say this for all of you that are listening. You see how connected people can get to something?
Yeah.
And we really don't need to get connected to a piece of technology to the point where we have withdrawals. We have ghosting. We have all of these other things. And as a result, we have created rejection. We have created all kinds of bad feelings, and all we did was not answer the phone.
Right.
Wow.
If you sent me a letter, at least I have a couple
Yeah,
of
you'd have
months
it in
to
your
write it
head.
out, and I could send it back whenever, though, at that point,
Yeah,
right?
can you
But
imagine those days?
Yeah, and so it's really different. Well, let's look at something else. How connected do we get to consumerism? How can we get along with one set of clothes, or I'll say two? You wash one, you wear one. You wash it, put the other one back on. You wear it, you put the other one back on. You wash it, put the other one back on. Can we become a
Minimalist.
a minimalist.
minimalist?
I love that word. I was going to make one other observation. What if in the pocket or in the palm of your hand you had a portal to all the world's best consumerism?
I do have.
That's fantastic.
It's called Google.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
You want me to Google it? What do you want to know?
I want to know how much gas is in Black River.
Okay, I'll do it.
Versus up north or something. But I mean, it's the two topics that you've picked today are directly linked because both behaviors can become like detrimental or addictive, or consumerism and
I had a full-blown
our
argument
connection
on
to
the
our
way to
phones.
Whitehall. And we
No,
only,
you
we only
didn't.
had 5 miles.
No, you did it.
with who?
With Wanda, with your mother. Or
Grandma?
yeah, Grandma.
Yeah. Why?
Why? And
Why?
5 miles.
I don't remember
you guys
this
had a
full-blown
full-blown
argument.
She needed all these dresses, and she needed 12 pair of shoes.
Well, I will
Grandma.
say consumerism is different for men and women. There's different things that men consume versus that women consume to a degree.
That's true.
And there are plenty of men that like their fashion. How many suit jackets do you have, Grandpa?
1.
You have 1 suit jacket.
No, he has more.
I don't believe
Well,
that.
yeah, he has blazers. He has.
Oh, he might have
He
one
has
suit
6
jacket, but he's got
blazers.
6 blazers.
I
Yeah.
wear, when I dress, the first thing I reach in the closet is what I put on.
Listen, the guy
Now,
who.
she switches things, which would be first.
Grandma, did you have something to say?
The guy who washes one and wears one and washes one and wears one, that could be Grandpa very easily. He actually has a few more pairs of jeans and shirts and stuff than that. But he is definitely a minimalist when it comes to clothing. He could get along and does with minimum. On the other hand, like you say, women are a little bit different.
So
there's
are
some
we
different products
victims
to buy,
of
yeah.
advertising, or do we have need?
Well, at one point, advertising, marketing, and certain, capitalism and stuff, it was mainly products that were based on a need, or it was some of the most innovative products in
What
the
would
beginning of all
somebody
this.
need pants with holes in for?
Well, the
I
sense
can't
of
justify
fashion,
that.
the sense of fast fashion.
Fashion.
Yes.
Who sells fashion?
We used to be considered, the poor people on the block if we wore
Jeans with
jeans
holes
with
in.
holes in. God
Right.
forbid. And now people pay $100 to $200 a pair for something that looks like it should be tossed in the trash.
Well,
If
it
you-
should have been tossed in the trash.
If you have enough money to live and then you wear those jeans, it's way edgier. It's cool.
It's
It's
cool.
way cooler. Yeah. I'm starting to get a little upset.
Is that Grandpa's phone?
Is that your second phone, Grandpa?
Is that
No,
Grandpa's
No,
phone?
that's
Grandma's
mine.
Okay.
Oh my
he's calling me.
goodness.
Okay.
I
This is
thought
a-
I turned them down. I'm sorry. I
See how
thought I turned it
hooked
down.
we
Great.
see how hooked we
Thank
can
you.
be. We get hooked on fashion. We get hooked on holy jeans. We get hooked on cell phones. We get hooked on technology. God help us if we got a video. I've seen people walking around with boom boxes on their heads.
That's old school, but yeah.
Oh, that's old school.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. They don't do that anymore.
Now they walk around with earbuds.
Yes.
Correct. Apple AirPods.
Attached
All everywhere.
to
Wow.
that phone.
But so for you guys, fitting in society was having nice, clean, whole clothes.
Right.
For us, fitting into society, fashion has changed quite a bit. And who sells this fashion? I don't know. That's a great question. Paris Fashion Week just happened. You have Fashion Week that happens in
Oui.
Asia. And then you go online and you consume all these celebrities, whether it's your favorite soccer player, your favorite pop artist, what are they wearing, and you consume it that way. So fashion has changed, but to what degree do we need it? Because I met this woman, she was in Barcelona. She was the most she has her own art studio, so you would think very fashion forward, and she's like, I only buy clothes that I deem timeless, so that she doesn't have to keep in this
Buying more.
consumerism trap that we're all in.
Buy more
Amen.
clothes.
We have a trend. It's Halloween. How many Halloween costumes and how many jack-o'-lanterns
Get
do we
thrown
need to bring
Holy
to
crap.
buy? And all the Christmas decor will come out, all the Halloween decor, all the party summer decor will come out, and we keep buying and buying and buying. But if we bought things that lasted or were more timeless, you wouldn't see that. But our oceans are filling up with clothes. Fast fashion is one of the biggest wastes.
Yeah.
The biggest waste there.
What's one of the biggest questions we get asked about, or what's the biggest gripe we hear at the furniture business? This used to be built better,
Right.
and things are not being built with the same care because fast fashion or fast capital there's a better word for this, but this
Well, is this
turnover rate
bad?
that people want, though, that companies
It
want,
does business.
They want a turnover. It's green in the whole money board that you're looking at in the room,
Yeah.
but no one is thinking about the consequences of their actions other than the green money, not the green planet.
Should we? Should we think about the consequences?
Is that retort?
I believe so.
Why?
Well, I want to live to 100, so I got 75 years left. So the consequences that we are impacting on the planet directly impact me, maybe more than you guys a little bit, but
Yeah. But we
You
see it. We see it coming.
We got 8 billion people in the
We see it.
world, and if everybody did like I did, we would have approximately 16 billion pairs of pants. Why do we need 60 billion pairs of pants? Because
For how many
somebody
people in
needs
the world?
10 of them.
I would say how many? 100 billion people, or I don't know.
There's about 8 billion people in the world. So if each one has 2 pair of pants, that's 16
billion.
billion pairs of pants. But if they have 10 pairs of pants, so they are in style.
And that's because your pants break down and rip apart, and become destroyed.
But how many people have worn their pants that they've gotten
or
holes
worn
in
it
them?
enough to?
How many? Okay, good for you, Grandpa.
Wow. Wow.
How many shoes have you? I've only had one pair of shoes where the sole came off, and I love those shoes to death. And I went to rebuy them, but they don't sell them anymore. You know.
They should actually sell a new revised good one. You know,
Right.
when I was a kid, you'd buy a pair of shoes, you'd wear it for 3 years, and then you'd give it to your brother.
Poor
Sick.
brother.
Well, that too. But yeah,
Right.
So
hand-me-downs are a thing.
Are we as a population, do we have the ability to disconnect from consumerism and connect to need?
Yeah, I think it's possible.
It is possible.
It's just-
Can I bring Jesus into this?
Sure. Let's get some veggie.
There's a
tales in here.
warning.
I wonder how many pairs of pants he had.
Jesus.
He didn't
I think he was
have.
freeballing most of the
Well,
time.
I think he wore robes, but
I think he wore
I don't
robes.
think he had much. He said,
How many slippers did he have?
and I probably wore the same pair of sandals once he became an adult.
I'm sorry, Kevin. By the way.
Jesus warned, watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. He calls this consumerism greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions. So that's what Jesus said.
Jesus was a minimalist.
The man himself. That's what he said. And so if we think about it, it only makes sense to temper this whole, it's just greed. We want more and more and more.
So
That's what it is. And that is considered sin in the Bible, greed. And
So how many dresses do you have to have in your closet before you have to go confession?
it's not confession, it's what's wise. It's what's wise to do. You
How
have
many-
to have a dress.
How many dresses?
Well, you have to have
Well, you have to think about it more as money perspective,
Money
though.
too.
If you
Right.
think,
Absolutely.
because a lot
It's
of these
using your
people buy these, physical objects, these dresses, because they're gonna show up to church on Sunday in their new Sunday school dress, and they're gonna look better than all the other ladies, and this is gonna give them a
So
sense
it's
of
vanity.
validation.
Validation,
Vanity,
a little bit of
yeah.
vanity
A lot of
too.
consumerism.
Throw
Like,
that
why are
in.
you putting all these jack-o'-lanterns outside your house and this big giant
Ghost.
ghost outside your house for Halloween, if not vanity? It's giving you validation that you have the most haunted house on the block. Your Christmas lights are bigger than your neighbor's Christmas lights. To some aspect, it is fun. It is comical. If you spend it with your family, setting it up, it's a positive experience. You get people who drive by your house and honk or something. But a lot of it is rooted in validation and that serotonin boost it gives you, that it makes you feel happy that people are noticing you. So can we get away from consumerism and try to put our money towards experiences? But is that the same amount of consumerism? If you buy an all expense paid trip to Mexico, what's better? Because that's still wasteful. That's still wasteful.
Money and everything's right.
So how do we say one consumerism is better than the next, and how
So
do we
every-
not be greedy?
So the 10 dresses thing versus the 10 jack-o'-lanterns versus what you just said there, it's the people's intentions, right? And then to go one step further than that, what are people's value systems? Do we value real
Okay,
experiences?
you guys are
This
the
is the big-
generation.
This is the big one here. This is how you get away from consumerism and greed. Is our value system rooted in buying another dress a year after our dress has been worn twice?
It's been going out of style. You got to get a new one.
But I just mean, like, this is a product of our value system and how we treat our shoes and how we treat our materials and what we buy. I know people that take care of their shoes to a high degree because they invest $200 plus in a pair of shoes.
Right.
And so, like, their value system, they respect what they're wearing and what they're putting on their body. And people that, have a real keen sense of fashion, I'm always inspired when I talk to them because they treat fashion differently than I do. And it's really interesting
So
to
in
see
your
other people's takes.
in your age group, what do you think? What do the people in your age group feel about the things we're talking about?
A lot of people are in the same bucket as us, I think, here, in terms of a lot of this is tiring, and there does need to be a solution for some of it. And a lot of it boils down to, on a personal level, what you have for finances and what you have for a value system and what you put value into. But I think a lot of the younger generations, not younger, but I think there's a lot of minimalism going on amongst generations.
What do you
right
think,
now.
Zoe?
I feel like the pressure of having to be fashionable, to be new. It's the feeling of being new. You know, someone, in general, you want to have the new idea. You want to be the new thing, the shiny new thing.
Trends.
The trend, right? So I feel like on my generation, that's why people are pushed with, we have TikTok and Instagram reels, and you see people making this new food, or you see people buying this new thing, and they want it, and they want to be present. And you also see there are so many people on social media now talking about their lives. Why? Why are so many people projecting their lives and presenting their lives online? It's because they want to be ogled at. And so there's this pressure to feel important, to be important. And you can do that in what you wear and what you have, probably how it's always been, to some degree, having the new car, having the coolest partner, the coolest boyfriend or girlfriend, having
the newest tractor.
So I feel like it's a pressure, and I see people my age, you'll see them post on social media, hey, I'm going dark. Like, I'm going off of it for a few months, taking a break. And this is something we've grown up with. We've had it every single day of our lives. Mm-hmm. And so why do we even feel the need to post that, hey, I'm not going to be on Instagram for a couple months? It's because it's so ingrained in a part of our life, you know? And so we can't really, it's a lot of pressure. It deals a lot with mental health and how people view themselves, because everyone posts their most happy moments on social media. That they got this new handbag, they got this new shopping haul from Target, and all these things they got for their home. And you want that, don't you? I want to go to Target, I want this, I want that. And so you fall into that consumerism trap there again, and that connectivity trap. You think you're connected to the rest of the world because you went and bought the new decor from Target.
Don't covet your neighbor. What's in the 10 Commandments? Everyone is out here coveting what other people have and what other people are doing. That's the whole fence. The grass is greener thing. And FOMO, actually, a little bit there. People are afraid of missing out. And I watch so many cooking videos, and I don't do half of them, even 90% of them. And I wonder if this trap is something that other people are falling into too. And it grinds you down a little bit, because you're seeing all these people doing all these things,
so
and you need to figure out what you want to do.
Life?
That's a great question. It should be you.
It should be you. You know.
I control my life, and I'm the freak.
You are a freak.
I'm the ghost.
I
got 60 calls. I don't want to answer any of them.
You're a little bit more radical than some people with their technology use out here. In their eyes, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So look at this seriously. You know, who is controlling your life? Who is controlling what you think? I don't need to look at somebody's handbag or somebody's billfold to know what kind of billfold I want. I just want a billfold that'll hold my credit card, that'll hold my money, and hold a picture or two, and that's it. I don't need that other stuff. Why do we need it? Because we want it, and I think Zoe said it. It gives us a feeling of belonging. Mm-hmm. Why do we need you mentioned the shoes, $200. $200 will hardly buy you a pair of shoes. I'm trying to buy shoes for $60, and I go to the shoe store, and I pick up a pair of shoes I like, and they'll ask you for $300 or $400. Where are we going to go with all of this in your guys' generation?
It's going to be tough. People are going to have to alter their value systems to require less or require just what's required. And
Can you disconnect and go back to the age I came from? Absolutely not.
No, we can't.
Well, no, because you have to live with technology.
So what's
we
the
have
age
to
of the
live
future,
with
Zoe?
technology.
Well, there's a quote that's been going around, which I know I saw it on social media, but I really liked it. So if you come home and you have no text messages, no Instagram reels to check on, nothing new to buy, you don't have anyone demanding your attention.
Praise God.
Does that mean you're lonely? Or
No.
does that mean you're free?
That means I'm free. I got time to do what I want to do.
But Gabe came home from 2 hours of not having his cell phone, and there was nothing for him to see, and
You're
he felt
disappointed.
sad.
I had a moment of it for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Folks, are you all listening to this? This is really important. When we talk about disconnect and connecting, it's really important. And I would encourage everyone, get connected to divinity, get connected to God Almighty, get connected to your future. We should get up in the morning and look with expectation for the day, the exciting things that are going to happen today. I got up this morning, 4:30, I texted these guys so they'd have the notes for the show. I went to Eau Claire, got some stuff from Menards to do it. I stopped at one of the convenience stores, and the lady asked me how I was doing. I says, absolutely fantastic, and she was fantastic, and we had a wonderful conversation, and we didn't even have a cell phone ring.
Not a cell phone in sight. Just people living in the moment.
Yeah. Is that wild or is that wrong?
It's hard because I've had a device in my phone since I was probably like 10 years old, And so it is a bit wild. Like, just to hold my phone, I feel better, to just have it in my hand. There's something we've been trained to do, to be attached, and we kind of need to train ourselves to be detached from it. You have to value what's most important, and you have to find what's most important to you, because otherwise you are going to be grabbed by all these fads, by all these trends.
Do you know,
Well, yeah,
people
absolutely.
our age, or maybe within 25 years, there are people going off of social media. I mean, permanently. They're taking themselves
Heck yeah.
off because they have recognized what they have slid into, and they are getting off, just plain getting off.
I'll tell you a
And
story.
developing their relationships the way they used to be. They still have the phone.
Yeah.
You can still call.
Still use it as
You
a
can
tool.
even video chat. But they're getting off all this other stuff.
I use
And-
my phone a couple times a week.
And yeah, you use your phone a lot more than that. Really.
Well,
Okay.
I would prefer to not have social media, but I have people on Facebook, on Instagram, on all platforms when I've traveled throughout the world, that if I delete these apps, I lose my connection
You'll
to
never,
them.
right.
Right.
And that's a true connection I have with them. So as much as I really want to get rid of Instagram because I spend too much time on Instagram Reels.
It's too easy.
What is Instagram now? I'm not real familiar
It's like
with that.
TikTok is all you got to know.
Like TikTok?
It's just a little bit better
Oh, he
than
knows
TikTok.
TikTok, but not Instagram?
Okay, I know
I
what
think
TikTok is.
Yeah.
Well, TikTok shows up on our
It's awkward.
feeds into our Facebook page, actually.
Yes, it does.
Oh. So yeah, it's those little short videos. I would like to get away from them more. But on Instagram, my friends and I are always sending pictures and videos of each other, and they're in Europe, they're in Asia. If I don't have this, I do lose a connection because the cellular device of just the mobile app isn't as good as being able to send video messages or things like that.
That's what I really like about the Facebook thing is we have people too that are on the other side of the world that we have either visited or gotten to know, and in this age, this is all new. This is wonderful that you can actually get a picture and a message just like that on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I like that.
It's.
Um,
Go ahead, sure.
Well, but then it becomes up to us to manage that. So
Yep.
all my friends and
Yep.
all that actual connection I can have with my cell phone, I have to manage it because I can have this actual connection, but at the same time, all that disconnection sits right there like Pandora's box. Like,
Yep.
don't go and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll
Yep.
for hours. But I need this to stay connected to real people in my lives. And how do you give every single person access to Pandora's box and expect them to say no? It obviously hasn't happened.
I want to ask another question and ties into this because and the consumerism we're talking about covers many areas. But because we can only absorb and handle so much consumerism, whether it's the cell phone, whether it's the dresses, whether it's the shoes, whether it's the junk, and we've got storage units full of junk that will never be used. In fact, I talked to one person the other day, and he said that he was going to go clean out his storage unit. He has not been in it in 18 years. He paid the rent on this junk for 18 years,
Yep.
Instead of cleaning it up.
whatever's in it.
Yeah.
At what point do we start minimizing our excess consumer appetite of one area and transfer it to something that's more meaningful in another area?
Well, I think you had an example on the sheet that I read this morning about how the environment has been something that has pushed consumers to change some of
But
their
we
habits.
want to stay disconnected from that because we don't want to pick up our garbage.
And so we're talking about a group of consumers. We're talking about different groups of consumers now, really, right? In terms of who is moved by what and who is moved by a Corona commercial where they just set the Corona on the sand. They're like, drink.
You know what's rapidly
Sick.
passing to plastic garbage? Is obsolete technology garbage.
Sure. Yeah. Apple just came out with a new charging cord.
Well-
Hope all the old ones go in the ocean.
And throw all the old ones in the ocean.
God.
Hopefully with that one, so the Apple phone charging cord should be universal. All Samsungs and Apples should have it. It was actually part of an act to make it more green.
That's a plus.
It was so that
Well,
all phones have like the same universal
God.
charger, so people don't have to keep, making random more ones.
Right.
Why don't they recycle the old cell
Hallelujah.
phones?
They should.
They
Well, they
refurbish
just-
a lot. And
they wouldn't
do-
even take it.
They do some, but
At Verizon,
Yeah.
they want to take your old cell phone.
because which
They
one?
didn't want
How
it.
old was it? You got to have a nice chip in it to get taken.
But not for like recycling purposes either. Maybe they thought you wanted money for it.
Maybe.
Well, sure, I want
Well,
money for it.
At the cost of cell phones, you would think that for people to stay connected who don't have a lot of money, that recycled cell phones would be in demand.
See, there's so many of these things that we have neglected and we have made waste. We need to practice using what we have got. In the old days, they would butcher a hog, and now I'm talking old days.
Yeah, but
They would butcher a
this
hog,
is
and
good.
they would use everything but the squeal.
Yep.
Ha.
And then even the squeal got used because they started to use it in the video industry where they would record it. You see, what is wrong with taking the technology out of the cell phone? You can send it now. Hang on, because it's going to go, and we're going to run out of time here. You can send it overseas. They will rebuild those old cell phones that we throw away and use them.
Yeah.
Why can't we do that here? Because we don't want a old cell phone. We want a new style.
When we were in Japan, I saw Harley Davidson clothes and different clothing
Oh.
that was definitely from Midwest or from America that had just been sent over there then. And I'm assuming they're just reselling it, and that's great.
Yeah.
And there's a big portion of it that's not getting resold over there as well.
Yeah.
There's-
But that's wicked how.
There's tons of vintage stores in Asia.
Yeah.
Right.
They have like Carhartts and things like
Yeah.
that, and Harley. They love that.
Yeah.
It's cool. And we don't, and
But
we
I mean,
just
we
don't
do the
recycle.
same. Like if
Well,
there was
yeah.
old like Japanese type
Oh,
anything there, like we would purchase it with our fascination of another part of the world. But it's nice to see it reused in that way. I will say paying it's a lot of money for those vintage Carhartt shirts.
the
that,
Harley Davidson stuff was priced up. I was like, whoa,
that
some
are
pack of
probably
jerseys.
more expensive than buying something new from Harley and like a new Harley leather jacket. They have them priced up quite high.
It took a 17-hour flight, so now it's priced up.
To buy a Harley jacket.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It just is. I mean, it's awesome how, I mean, we have to figure out ways to keep using byproducts or things that need to be reused, kind
Yeah.
of.
Absolutely.
It's my hope that there will be a renaissance of thought of people that, like because you're radical over here, that care about real experiences and are a little bit more cognizant of what's going on out here. Because you have to have both a little bit to be like this kind of ideal, informed, balanced consumer, if that's even a possibility. I'm not saying that's a high standard.
What do you mean by experiences?
As in, like,
Well, you can't feel the wind
cognizant
off
of
the
like
TikTok.
cognizant
Right.
of the environment, cognizant of the recycling idea, or cognizant of these bigger ideas around consumerism. I mean, to be like a balanced, to actually say you
I
can
drove
see the
a
picture
Harley.
maybe.
And you can watch the movie. It's just a movie. They're running down the screen on a flat screen. But you get on the Harley, you can feel the wind, you can feel the cold, you can feel the roar, you can feel the vibration of the engine, you can feel the danger of the cars.
Right.
That's a real experience.
And it's people want.
And so when you get into real experiences, there are trends towards that as well, though. You know, everyone sees that,
They call it reality TV, and I live so much of it.
right?
Yeah.
But so I have a
Coachella.
question. So something happens on reality TV, right? They go to this place in Florida, this beach in Florida, and now every single person is gonna go there to get their picture on the beach in Florida. So I think it's more important to talk about this concept of you, because consumerism can flow in experiences as cheaper as travel gets. Harleys are made cheaper these days than they were back then. Cars are made cheaper. So you're more accessible to experiences, but you need to know what you want. Because if you still follow the trends, if you still see that motorcycle scene on the TV and go out and buy a motorcycle, and everyone else goes out and buys a motorcycle because they saw it on the TV, what does that have to do with you?
Nothing.
So this idea of becoming, like Gabe said, more aware of your surroundings and what is important to you, and the concept of what makes you free.
What's your value system?
Right. What do you value?
And if it's a new iPhone every fall, I mean, that's great dopamine, I guess, in the short term. But
Right.
I don't know. You have to look further in on that example, though. Like, how are you using your phone now? So people have to decide how they value their time and their energy. About everything out here is just an energy equation. I spent
Yeah.
some
That's
this
true.
morning coming here for you guys,
Yeah, we
and I'll
do.
never get it back, and I'm totally cool with it.
Energy
great.
is that. Yeah, the energy we spend here is spent. It'll never come back.
But
The moment will never be relived. So enjoy every moment.
the idle
Right.
body is just dying.
And
It's
so,
crazy.
So people also need to understand how hard things are, because when you sit and you watch this beautiful motorcycle scene and he's just driving, his hair is floating in the wind, it looks easy.
Oh boy.
So I've had this happen. So I went and studied abroad for about a year, and my friend went that next summer. She called me one week in crying. She was like, "How did you do this? How did you live in Spain for the whole year? I'm homesick. I feel weird. I don't like the food here. I'm really having a hard time adjusting." And I'm like, I never said it was easy. I know people will look at my life and they'll be like, "Wow, that's so great. You're so driven." And I'm like, yeah. I also was able to get through all the rough stuff because it was always really hard. And people don't want these experiences immediately without putting in any work or realizing
Oh,
what
yeah.
it takes.
Amen. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
You know, when we see it on the flat screen, you don't feel I drove a motorcycle through the mountains in the wintertime. Snow halfway to the handlebars. You know how cold it is? You know how dangerous it is? You know how you learn how to pray.
I've driven in a couple blizzards
But
before.
right, if someone took a drone over top and filmed that, everyone would be like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
that looks so cool. Grandpa almost died.
Yeah, almost died.
You know?
Lookout
quite easy to
Pass
talk.
in Montana, Idaho, where the two come together. Absolutely. So, will the new generation change, or am I just old school and
Some of these
Out
kids
the
out
pasture.
here, some
The
of these,
pendulum always swings back again.
it's a rubber band, yeah.
Goes this way, and then it'll go this way, and sometimes it's in the middle.
You know, I want to say for
So it
Zoe
will
and
swing.
Gabe, I'm proud of them because they've done a lot of things. They have experienced a lot of things. And I would say to all of you that are listening, don't be afraid to experience something. Not on a flat screen. Experience it. Go on a hike. Climb a mountain. Hike the Grand Canyon. Hike the Appalachian Trail.
Hike your road, your,
Hike your backyard.
driveway.
Hike the driveway, yeah. But do something besides looking at the flat screen. Become a consumer of experience. I was looking at the YouTube this morning when I got up. They had a woman that was 104, and guess what she did? She jumped out of an airplane with a
Yeah.
parachute
Oh man.
Yes.
at
yes,
104.
yes.
Oh,
Wow,
incredible.
I envy her, but I'll never jump out of an airplane. I don't like to fly. I don't like
you're not
heights.
having FOMO
but
on that one.
I got a phobia. I don't want to do it. But we need to experience, and we need to, whatever generation we are, don't be afraid to experience life, because that's what it's all about. I would say this to the young people listening. The Zoe's age, 30 and under and 60 and older, are the two greatest emotionally depressed groups of people in the world. Why? Because they're afraid to share an experience. If you're over 60, go jump out of an airplane. If you're retired,
Lord.
go do something. And if you're a teenager, put that cell phone away, TikTok and whatever it is, and go do something. Zoe went to Korea. Gabe went to Colombia. They've got involved in business. Everybody needs to do something, because that is what will build your character. I want to share something with you just as we're closing this, and this comes back to my world. You go out, we see all the television evangelists, and they this and this and this and blah, 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 and we have 100 reasons. You know what you need to do? Is you need to go out and lay hands on somebody and see them get out of a wheelchair. You share that experience, you will never be the same. You go hike a mountain, you will never be the same, because you have experienced it. If you make a connection with divinity, with the supernatural, with God Almighty, you will never be the same, because that is an experience that you can't put on a flat screen. That is an experience you can't put on a flat screen. So what I'm saying to Gabe and Zoe and everyone else, we need to share the real experience of living. And you might share it in consumerism. You might share it. I praise God for the people that are cleaning up. I was watching the young group cleaning up the road and picking up the garbage. That's an experience that you'll never take from them.
Yes.
And you know what? If you're throwing the garbage out, don't do it. Pick it up. If you're not recycling, pick it up. If you're not opening the door for somebody or saying thank you, it's an experience. You'll never be the same if you start saying thank you and please. Mm-hmm. We need to become people. And that's the message.
Gentle and kind.
That Zoe and Gabe are talking about. You need to become involved. You need to become connected. And we need to disconnect ourselves from some of this other stuff. And we
Yes.
talked about how hard it is. I had a friend that had 30,000 frogs in their house. So they needed help. They were going to disconnect.
They were like
a frog.
ceramic frogs. They weren't
Yeah.
Oh,
live
they didn't have like a
frogs.
frog choir in their house,
No,
like
they were not
croaking the whole
fro-
time.
Okay.
You
Wow.
know, we went in and
Whoa.
we're going to take out so many of these frogs.
That's a rage room waiting to happen.
We didn't get a dozen of them. Look at the show Hoarders sometime.
Does it bring you joy?
We are all hoarders.
Yes.
The Bible says to lay up your treasures in heaven because everything that's here will just get moth-eaten and rusted and destroyed.
I'd
Some
rather be
people
a-
will hoard clothes.
I'd rather be a dragon. Yeah.
Some people will hoard jewelry. Some people will hoard pictures. Some people will. We all become hoarders. It gives us an identity. We need to put our identity in our spirit.
Yep.
I want to share this as we're getting ready to close this show. And if you guys have something you want to add into this, don't be afraid to.
Yep.
But we need to go to the mirror and look at that image you see in the mirror. You see the image in the mirror, and then I want you to talk to that image and tell that image what you see and what you don't see and what you want to see. Now you have entered the world. You have entered the supernatural world. You are programming and managing that image. And that image, how many cell phones does it have? How many cars does it have? How many dresses does it have? How many shoes? How many of this? How many of that? You're managing it. And it's important that we recognize we are responsible. Another way to say it is your mother gave a grunt, you were launched, and it's a projectile that came out of the muzzle of a rifle. But you have to guide the projectile. Where are you going to guide it? Are you going to guide it and follow the lusts of consumerism, whatever that would be? Or are you going to guide it and follow the choices and the needs that you have? Think about that for a second. We are all consumers, but at the same time, we have certain needs and we have certain consumptions. What are our consumptions? Well, I can go this wild. There's people that collect Bibles. They'll have 50 Bibles in the house and have never read the first one. Wow. You mean I should say that on the show? Yes, because those things exist also.
It's true.
So, don't worry about it. I would say this for everyone. Don't get excited. Don't do anything. Look up. Give your life to Christ and say, Christ, help me, guide me, direct my consumerism, direct my needs. Show me what you want me to do. Show me what you want me to experience. Because when I get up in the morning, I love you, I love the world, and I want to do something good today.
Amen.
Amen.
Love yourself.
Love
Drink some
yourself.
water.
Yep.
He is the healer of my soul, the healer of infirmities, the